Inspector Craddock, may I interrupt you for a moment?
Who the heck are you? What are you doing in my room?
I'm Scott, the new recruit from the police academy. I'm supposed to do an internship here.
Oh, okay, I see. Did Deputy Chief Paddington send you?
Yeah, exactly.
Good boy. The honourable profession of police officer is an important service to society.
I hope to learn a lot here.
That's what I like to hear. Ready for your first lesson?
Of course. What do I need to know?
Keep your hands off the so-called modern technology and stick to pen and paper.
Why?
Because the so-called modern technology will only keep you from your real work. See that grey box there on my desk?
Your laptop?
Yes, laptop. I think that's what today's youth calls it. Well, Detective Chief Paddington has ordered me to type up my report on the Longbottom incident on this devil machine. And it is hell. Pure hell.
What exactly is the problem? I'm pretty good with this infernal machine, you know?
You are? Well, I guess that's the privilege of youth then. I have worked in this agency for 35 years, but have certainly aged another 35 years in the last 2 days.
Have you ever tried using more than just your index finger to type your texts?
You mean a second finger? No, I have to perfect this one finger first. After that, I may think about another trick and consider a second finger. But it doesn't really matter. You certainly don't want to hear an old man whining around here. You are here to learn something.
You mentioned the name Longbottom. Is that your current case you're working on?
That's right, but actually that's strictly confidential. But since you are a colleague, I can probably talk to you about it.
Longbottom. Baron Longbottom.
Exactly. I'm investigating a case of extreme vandalism, predatory theft, and the suspected kidnapping of the family dog.
Wow, that sounds pretty bad. Do you already have a suspect?
No, not yet. I'm still at the very beginning of the investigation. However, I would certainly be significantly further along if this grey devil's box didn't stop me in my tracks.
I think you are right.
About what exactly?
You should perfect the one finger first.
Weren't you a proponent of two-finger typing just a moment ago?
That's true, but it sounds like you have an important case there. You better not take any chances when writing your reports.
Yeah, you're probably right. Deputy Chief Paddington can get very displeased with misspellings in my reports.
Yeah, exactly. Can I ask a few more questions in relation to your case?
Yes, you can, but please keep them short. I have a lot to do.
Any progress with your case yet?
Which case exactly are you referring to?
You mentioned something about extreme vandalism, predatory theft, and the suspected kidnapping of the Longbottom family dog.
Which leads me to the question, how do you even know this detail? Do you have anything to do with this?
Me? No! Why would you think that? I know this detail because Constable Smith! Exactly! I know that from Constable Smith. The old chatterbox from the front office of this precinct said you'd been working on the Longbottom case lately.
Constable Smith? Really? Damn, so this stain on our guild has done it again.
I guess so. He was really extremely talkative.
Yes, that sounds like him. And if he weren't the police chief's nephew, he'd probably be flipping burgers in a chip shop by now. I'm going to go over to him right now and give him the monthly telling off.
That wouldn't help much at the moment. I think he's taking a nap right now.
He's what? Damn Smith. But strictly speaking, my time is actually too valuable to waste on this disgrace in police uniform. I have far too much work here for that.
About your work again. So there's been no breakthrough in the Longbottoms case.
No, I already said in our first conversation that I was still at the very beginning of the investigation. And I would probably be much further along if it weren't for that grey block on my desk slowing me down.
If I can help you in any way, please let me know. After all, I am here to learn something from you.
Thank you for the offer. I commend this attitude. But often in police work, sometimes there's nothing else we can do but wait for new evidence. Or new witnesses.
New witnesses? You mean like tips from the public?
Yes, it's not at all uncommon for law-abiding citizens to call our tip line 1-900-677-SHERLOCK, sometimes weeks later, and reveal new details.
The number is really one...
Yes, and often the last hope for stalled cases.
Good to know.
In the case of Longbottom, I still hope for one or two eyewitnesses. The perpetrator, or presumably even the perpetrators, probably used all kinds of technical savvy and special tools to expertly remove the intercom system, which was firmly anchored in the wall. Certainly in order to sell the high-value parts on the black market and then to buy drugs from the proceeds. And then, obviously among other things because he became an unwanted witness to the action, the perpetrator kidnapped the extremely valuable progenitor of Lord Longbottom's Chihuahua family breed. Without a doubt to beget more valuable offspring from him and also to buy more drugs from these proceeds.
So it couldn't be that little yapper that just ran away through the open gate? Only to return remorsefully to his master after a few adventures in the wild? My Dachshund Robbie, may God rest his soul, once ran away for a whole week and was back on our doorstep after 7 days stuffed with food. Probably some neighbour had been feeding him, or he'd stolen some cat food somewhere.
Of course, this cannot be ruled out either. In fact, at the current stage of the investigation, nothing can be ruled out yet. That's why I'm still hoping for one or two tips from the public.
Through the 1-900-677-SHERLOCK hotline, right?
Exactly. 1-900-677-SHERLOCK.
Good. Then I wish you continued success. And if you ask me, the thief must have been a pretty muscular guy. Such a large system must weigh quite a bit. And certainly, he was also on site with a large vehicle. Because such a large system doesn't fit easily into your pocket.
I am pleased to see that our young police officers are following. Perhaps there is hope for our profession after all. After all, there's more to being a good cop than just being related to the chief of police.
An interesting outfit you're wearing?
Do I detect a hint of sarcasm there?
No, I'm serious. It looks very, well, interesting.
Yes, I admit that my clothes may seem a little out of time.
I wouldn't say that. I still come across your outfit quite often these days.
Really?
Yeah, especially in movie and television.
That was sarcasm, right? You are quite cheeky for a newcomer. But let me solve this riddle for you.
I am curious.
A few years ago, we had this difficult case. A case that seemed unsolvable. A case that made me despair.
What was it about?
The details don't matter. Now, don't interrupt me any further.
Sorry.
Good. Okay. Where was I?
Unsolvable case. Desperate inspector. I shouldn't interrupt.
Right. So the case. I must have spent 6 months or more poring over files, interviewing witnesses, and sifting through evidence. I was hopelessly stuck. Until that fateful birthday party for Constable Smith.
The one where the firearm use got out of hand?
No, that was a year later. The party I'm talking about was a theme party.
Theme party?
Well, you know, a party with a theme, where you dress up in costumes according to the theme.
Ah, I see. And you were Sherlock Holmes?
Right. Yes, the motto was, "People who inspire us." Interestingly, half of the participants came dressed as our police chief. As if this would benefit their career in any way.
You didn't think much of such well-placed sycophancy.
No, I like my position. I don't want to be promoted at all. Not to mention that our boss might inspire me to quit rather than anything else. My biggest inspiration since childhood was, and still is, the greatest detective of all time.
Ben Matlock!
No, damn it, of course not a TV detective. I'm talking about a real legend. Sherlock Holmes. Who else?
I'm pretty sure I've seen Sherlock Holmes on television before.
You're starting to interrupt me again.
Sorry.
Drat, where was I?
Unsolvable case. Desperate inspector. Theme party. Sherlock Holmes is real. I still should not interrupt you.
Right. Well, the party was already in full swing, and I had probably had one ale too many. So I fell asleep peacefully. I don't really know where exactly. And all of a sudden, bam! There he is.
Who?
Sherlock Holmes. Standing there in a dream before me. What an honor! I mean, I know that the master detective has been dead for a long time.
Or never lived.
But he was so real. And now comes the best.
I can hardly wait.
He only said 2 words to me. Cotton candy.
Cotton candy?
Yes, cotton candy. And there it was. The solution to my case. Finally. The solution was as obvious as it was trivial. Sweet, sticky cotton candy.
Yum. What was the case about again?
Sorry, since you're new here, I can only tell you the solution for privacy reasons. No further details.
Too bad. And let me guess. Since then, you're convinced that your costume at the theme party whispered the solution to you. As if the ghost of the fictional or non-fictional Sherlock Holmes has entered you.
When you put it that way, it sounds kind of ridiculous. But yes, in principle, you're right. I've been wearing this outfit to work day after day ever since. And you know what? I am convinced it has made me a better detective since then.
You really wear this outfit every day?
I have 7 of them, 1 for each day of the week. And solving my cases has been a lot easier for me since that fateful day full of alcohol and mystery.
Wow. A great story.
Think of it as your first lesson with us. Whatever inspires you to do a better job than everyone else, stick with it. And just ignore the wry looks of society or the snickers of your colleagues.
So you really think I could do my duty as Captain Kirk of the Enterprise?
Well, I don't know, said Captain. Must be from another precinct.
Yes, another world, so to speak.
Well, if that Captain Kirk makes you a better police officer, then you should also do your duty as Captain Kirk.
Great! Can I have that in writing, please? In case my supervisor doesn't want to believe me.
Gladly. But please come back later. At the moment, I still have so much to do.
All right, and if you get stuck, just take a little nap.
Why do you new recruits always have to be such smartasses?
Any other interesting cases lately?
Well, yes, quite. Crime never sleeps. Why exactly are you interested in my cases?
Research for an essay at the Police Academy.
Ah, I see. Well, I'm happy to share my knowledge with our junior staff.
So there were interesting cases.
Indeed. For example, we have that traffic rowdy who ran a red light and was immediately caught on a traffic camera. The man was wearing a ski mask, had masked the license plates of his cars and made an obscene gesture towards the camera, in the hope that we could then not prosecute him.
I guess this plan didn't work.
Right. This criminal genius did the math without my magnifying glass.
So you really still use a magnifying glass?
Of course. Even if my new colleagues smile at me a bit because of this, This well-worn tool has always served me well. And so too, this time with a tenfold magnification of the photos taken by the traffic cameras.
But now I am curious.
You must know that such a camera always takes 2 photos at a traffic light. One from the front and one from the rear of the traffic offender's vehicle. And a small, but at 10 times magnification well-readable sticker was emblazoned on the rear of the vehicle. Bob's Plumbing Service, including full address and phone number.
Haha, that must have been expensive for Bob. I guess Bob is 1 card shy of a full deck.
Probably not, and once again I could prove to my colleagues why even in the 21st century, a magnifying glass is still the most important tool of a police officer.
Thank you. Great how you solved the case, it was very educational. Do you perhaps have another story for me?
Of course, it's nice to see how inquisitive our young police officers are. My magnifying glass has also served me well on another case.
Oh, another magnifying glass case. These are my favourite.
A few months ago, there was this series of burglaries with theft and vandalism. The thief, fully masked, entered various apartments in a suburb of our beautiful city.
Another masked criminal genius. Was it Bob, perhaps?
No, Bob had an alibi. That's where we checked first, of course.
Ah, too bad. I thought I might have solved the case.
As I said, Bob was not the one, but it's nice to see that you're already trying to apply the knowledge you've been given. Keep it up, then you'll complete your training at the police academy in no time. But back to the case.
I am curious. Hopefully it will be as educational as the last one.
So, where was I? Oh yes, the series of burglaries in February this year. Well, the last house in the series was entered by the thief at night. So it was pitch black. And of course the thief didn't turn on any lights. However, he had to be able to see something. So he pulled out his cell phone, activated the display, and set it to full brightness.
And was promptly photographed by the pet camera.
Right. Nice to see that you're following. Except that this recording wouldn't have done much in itself.
Because Bob was masked.
I told you it wasn't Bob. But yes, because of the mask, his face was not visible. And yet, thanks to my magnifying glass, his face was clearly visible.
Now I am confused.
Bob had, the thief had misused his cell phone screen on full brightness as a flashlight, as mentioned earlier. And 3 guesses what was clearly visible as a background image on the display of his cell phone when magnified 10 times.
A picture of Bob?
Now just stop with Bob for a minute. But in fact, the thief had put a self-portrait as the cell phone wallpaper.
Ha! What an idiot! And presumably the portrait was also found in the criminal file.
That's exactly how it was. The crook was well known to us. And once again, my beloved magnifying glass was able to solve a case in no time.
Who would have thought that this antique piece of analog technology still has such relevance today?
That's just it. You youngsters think the police solve cases with computers and cell phones, just like in those TV shows.
So all it takes is a magnifying glass with 10-fold magnification. And I suppose it continues to help even if the offenders aren't exactly criminal geniuses.
Correct. The combination of 10-fold magnification and stupid criminals is a sure win for us law enforcement officers.
Bob would certainly agree with that. Thank you for this fascinating insight into your work. I better go right now and get a magnifying glass with 10-fold magnification. Would you have a tip as to where I can...
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. I'm all...